right, welcome to another episode of Spare Time. I'm Carlos. Today, my special guests are Brennon Claus. He's a local world-renowned realtor. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but everybody that's on the show is pretty world-renowned. So
it's a big deal being on here.
Yeah, and then, as you've come to expect, my buddy Mike.
Hello, hello.
What's going on? Oh, so Brennon, tell me a little bit about yourself, man. Introduce yourself for the folks in the world that don't know who you are.
Yes. Thanks for having me on, man. So I'm Brennon Claus. We were just joking about this. Last name is the same spelling as Santa Claus. So I moved out here about 5 years with my wife. I'm from upstate New York. If you can believe this, I'm from a smaller town than Roseburg. We had one stoplight in our town, super small, maybe 70 people in our class. But yeah, super small town. From that, love upstate New York. But my wife, met her out there going to college, moved out here, and instantly fell in love. I thought in the first 6 months for sure I'd be moving back, but moved out here, love it. We've got a little girl. She's 1 year old. We got 2 dogs, live on a couple acres outside of town. I'm a real estate agent here in Roseburg. It's been great. So yeah, I met Carlos a couple years ago to a local networking group, and it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So upstate New York, how's that? I know you said it's a smaller town, but I've never been over there. What's it like over there? How's it differ from here?
Honestly, it's pretty similar. What's crazy is that coming from a small town on literally the other side of the country, very similar to Roseburg. So super small town. You drive down Main Street, you've got your one bank, your one pharmacy, grocery store, Ace Hardware, it's what I kind of grew up with. Super small town feel. Everyone knew everyone. Everyone dated similar people during high school. You know what I mean? And then we had a city, Buffalo, New York. I'm sure you guys have heard about that, where they get 7 feet of snow and the Buffalo Bills and all that jazz. Is where I went to school, went to college. And so our big thing, which is kind of funny now that I live out in Oregon, was going to the mountains, going a ways away. So we had the Adirondack Mountains, which go up and down the east side of New York. And they had what they call the 46ers, the 46 high peaks. I think they're all over maybe 4,000 feet. And it was a kind of a goal. You'd hike all those. That was a big deal.
Cool.
And you go up there in the fall. I don't know if you guys have been out east. If you haven't been in New York or out in Vermont, in that area, in the fall, it's unreal. All the maple trees change color. The mountains
just the colors,
the blue, or not the blues, the oranges and the reds and everything is beautiful. And so that's where I kind of grew up. We'd go out there and just enjoy the mountains. And then living out here, as you guys know, I mean, I feel like people who live here, it's like they're just used to it. They grew up doing it. But it's amazing. We didn't have any public land back home. So it was all buddies that you would know, that owned a farm, 100 acres, 200 acres. You'd hunt that for whitetail. But living out here, it's like I just can't get enough of it. We're hour 15 from the coast.
Well, the term mountains means a little something different.
It means something way different. All of a sudden you realize what we're looking at were hills, But it's beautiful, man. I'm excited to be out here. Like I said, after about 6 months, I realized real soon, there's no reason for us to leave here. It's got everything you could ever want. And now we've got our little daughter. It's awesome to kind of show her this stuff.
Yeah.
Take the dogs up and get out. So it's hard to leave. It's tough explaining it to my parents because they all live within 10 minutes of each other. They're all super small town. And so when you tell someone you're moving to a whole different state, it was mind-blowing.
On the other side of the country.
Yeah. Why would you go out there? Why would you do that? You know what I mean? Then you get out here, and we've had them out since, and they love it. It blows their minds. Take them up to the Callahans. And my dad, I see him scooching over in his seat because he looks down and it's so steep, So it's been awesome, man. I wouldn't change a thing. It's beautiful out here.
That's awesome.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I know. I think when you and I first started talking to each other, I told you when I think of New York, I just think of the city,
Oh, yeah.
You kind of forget that there's a whole rest of the state.
Oh, 100%. And I think it's the same way with Oregon.
Yeah.
Or should I say Oregon? When I came from New York, I got corrected pretty quick. But same thing from New York is that you tell people from New York, I love New York City. It's like, I hate it. I hate it. And then you move out to Oregon, it's like, oh, I've been to Portland before, and it's like, it's not quite the same,
That's how Oregon.
Yeah, I think it's kind of how a lot of states are. You go there, and people just assume it's like, oh, you must be from the biggest city. But
definitely,
I've been to Portland a few times. It's just not the same. I kind of like the small town feel. It's beautiful out here. And like you guys were talking about earlier, hunting and everything. It's just, if you are a hunting, outdoors, camping person, you can't get any better than this.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I for a short while after high school, I moved to Missouri for a little while. And it's weird. I think it doesn't matter where you live. You take for granted the stuff that you become accustomed to.
that you
Absolutely.
do every day.
I moved to
yeah.
Missouri, and I met, I swear to God, every person I met in Missouri, the first thing they told me was, "Have you ever seen the ocean? One of these days I'm going to see the ocean."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I see it all the time. It's not that great. and
Still
I had
there.
people ask me the weirdest questions. Like I had people ask me if we still had wagon trails over here.
Nice.
Do we have running water everywhere?
Yeah.
I was like, it's the other side. I said, it's a couple states away. It's not back in time. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, what's wild is that, so when I moved out here, I packed everything I owned into my pickup truck and enclosed snowmobile trailer. And I just bombed over here. It was amazing. And I think everyone, if you haven't already, take a week or 2 weeks and just drive across country and just understand where the states are and what's going on and everything else. Because if you get out, you can see all this cool stuff. But, man, if you stay in the same spot, you don't really get to gain that perspective.
Yeah.
Just like understand. It's like, man, we really do in Oregon have a great spot. Like, we're so close to the ocean, the mountains, we get to explore all this stuff. You don't get to do that in other states. Not in Missouri, not in Dakotas, any of these other places.
I will
It's
say
a gem.
that everywhere I've been, I mean, if you take time to look, there's amazing things everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's really some cool stuff out there.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, you just take for granted where you're from, I guess.
You do. And I think I really learned that moving here is because people who grew up with us. I was like, man, you guys, so we would hunt elk. That was, I think, one of the first stories I shared with you. Going from New York, hunting whitetails out of deer stands was a big deal,
Yeah.
Then when we got into this thing where we would hunt in Colorado for elk every 2 years. It was a big deal for us.
That was the hunting trip.
It was a hunting trip, right? It's
Yeah.
a big deal. And then I move out here, and I was talking to guys. I was like, hey, I hunt elk. Like, we're getting after it. And they're like, yeah. Yeah, that's what we've been doing since we were, whatever age, 16 years old, 15 years old, whatever age you can hunt out here.
Sure.
And then I quickly realized, it's like, these guys have been living in the mountains since they were born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is a norm thing for them. You know what I mean? You are used to hunting elk and muleys and all these great, phenomenal
Another
animals.
weekend. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which is awesome. So I'm hoping get my daughter into that early.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, so you hunted in New York too, right?
Yeah.
So how is the hunting different there? I mean, I know other than our buddy Shane, he's from Virginia,
Yes.
and that was one of the big things that was different for him when he came here, because he's like, hunting is way different here. He's like,
Night and day.
We sat in a tree stand, or
I didn't realize how
freaking
soft I
blind.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes, you guys, your animals don't act the same way. Nothing's the same. So how is it different from New York?
Yeah, so New York, the whitetail hunting. Whitetail deer was the big game that we hunted, you know what I mean? So we'd know a bunch of private people that had 40 acres here, 20 acres there, maybe they owned a farm. It was a whole different ball game. And so the game out there was you'd have a food source, like a crop, corn or soybeans or something, and you'd have a stand, whether it's a climbing stand, ladder stand, whatever it might be, you'd post it up, and you'd have cameras everywhere. And so this was a 365-day deal where you'd monitor these animals, try to figure out the patterns. And what you would do is you test your endurance, and not in a hiking way, but in a how long can you stay in a
The
stand way.
patience. of
Yeah,
hunting,
absolutely.
yeah.
And so we would get in these spots where we'd be sitting in a stand, and you'd get in there before dark, before daybreak, and you'd sit in that stand, and sometimes you'd sit there and the snow would be stacking up 6-8 inches on your bow, and you're sitting there trying to stay calm, wait for the animals to pass by you, and you're hoping you put your stand in the right spot according to your cameras and the food source and the bedding areas, and you'd study all this stuff. And I didn't realize it was such a microscopic level until I moved out here. Moving out here, instead of hunting 40 acres, you're hunting 4,000 acres.
Yeah.
And so instead of hunting a hill, you're hunting a mountain. Food sources, not really as much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's, not, it's like, here's your cornfield, hunt on the edge of that. You know what I mean? And they'll maybe pop out. It's a different level for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. When talking with my other buddy, he was saying, it's weird because like back there, you know they're going to go to water and they're going to come back from water. And,
Yes.
And all this stuff. He goes, but here, there's freaking water everywhere.
Everywhere.
There's little creeks everywhere. There's enough water
yeah.
for them to survive off the leaves.
Without even being seen anywhere.
Yeah. And so he didn't know what to do. And then he's like, in all the old sayings of, hunt, they come downhill in the morning and uphill at night, or however that goes.
Yeah.
He goes, none of that makes any sense at all here. He goes, they're going every direction all day long.
Yes.
He goes, if it gets hot, you'd think that they wouldn't be out at all, but then you freaking go around the corner and there's 15 deer just hanging out in a field, Well,
that's what would happen. So here's the other big thing. This is probably even bigger than what I just said, was the deer drives. Yeah. That was a huge deal. And so one of my buddies went to high school with him, a really good guy. His dad owned this farm. He had cows on it, and he had crop on it. It was like 120 acres. And so we would have these huge deer drives. And this stuff is wild. So in the middle of his property was a railroad track. And for a couple of years, they parked these railroad cars on there, and they just didn't move. They just left them there. And so we had it down to the point where we would have like 5 guys shimmy up these railroad cars to sit on the top and just post up, every 10 cars or something like that. And you spread out. And the way his property was, it was very flat at the bottom, and then it climbed up this hill. And this railroad track was right at the base of the hill. And so you'd set up like 5 guys in this railroad train, just sitting on top. And then you'd have guys hike up the left or right side, all in a line, go across the top, spread out, and push down.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget this. We're sitting there, you always hunt Thanksgiving Day as a tradition back home. Thanksgiving Day, all the guys would go out and hunt. And I remember sitting on top of this train, and I was the last guy from where these deer started pushing. So the guys are pushing down the hill, right? They got into some deer, and the deer start running parallel to this train across the hill. And so you hear, and we're hunting with shotguns back there. We didn't have rifles, we're hunting with shotguns. So you had 5 shots was the deal that each shotgun would hold. And so you'd hear boom, 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 boom. And then there'd be a pause. And then you'd hear where that deer hit the next guy. And he'd rip off all 5 shots. And this one deer, I'll never forget, he went through all 4 guys before me.
The whole game.
And he got to me, and I just left the gun on my lap. I said, dude, if you made it this far,
you're going. Get out of here.
Just get out of here. I don't know. And his tongue's flapping out of his mouth. He's a little 6-point. And I'm watching, I'm going, just keep going. I don't know what to do. I wouldn't feel right shooting this thing. But that's what a lot of the hunting was back there, was the deer drives. You'd have your pushers and your sitters, or however you wanted to say it, and you're going through the nastiest pricker bushes and stuff, just trying to flush the deer out, because you only had this very small parcel to hunt on.
Yeah.
Sure.
We actually used to do that when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. But you'd pick a unit or something and you do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that it was more about the old guys being able to sit and make all the kids walk through the front.
The younger ones walk.
It's 100% about that.
Because I don't know that I ever remember a deer getting killed that way, but I remember doing it a lot when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah. We had a lot where it was like, we had a deer camp we do every year at my uncle's cabin, which is just a very small joint, wood-burning stove. We'd always give the old guys a hard time because they'd always shove us down the nastiest stuff to push the deer out. They'd always miss, It's like the deer damn near ran. You always put a blade on the end, wherever they call that.
A bayonet.
A bayonet.
Yeah.
You hear the shots ring. I was like, it was 15 feet from me. It's like, we'll just stab this thing, Just put it down. We pushed the deer right to you. But yeah, it was a lot of that. But it was all part of it, though. It was very close knit. Everyone liked going out, and it was just an event you would do. Whether it was a deer push or a deer camp, it was an event you would do. And like Carlos, you and I were talking a while back. Similar out here, I think. People get excited for hunting season. They set up a campsite. They get base camp set up. Hunting is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but man, it is. I think it's all about having like your friends and family close to you and just experiencing that. If you get an animal down, it's a bonus.
Yeah. The best part of hunting is getting ready.
Yeah.
And talking about it afterwards.
Oh yeah.
The hunt itself is all right, but. Yeah. The rest is the best part.
And honestly, the more messed up or brutal it is, the funnier it is, the more you remember it,
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's for sure. Oh, I got a question for you.
Sure.
So you said it was a little 6-point.
Mm-hmm.
So is that a 3x3? Or is that?
Oh, jeez.
This is how you know you're not on the East Coast.
Yeah,
anymore.
Yeah.
So out on the East Coast, we count all the points. You know what I'm saying? So this was a 6-point would be a 3x3.
I gotcha. Yeah, that's what I figured.
And so I forgot about this detail. The funny part was, out by us, guys kind of own acreage in like 200 or 100 acre parcels. And so my buddy, his dad had this farm, it was 120 acres. And above him, this neighbor had gotten together with this whole neighborhood, and they all had probably collectively about 700 acres, which back home was a lot.
That's a lot of property.
And so they created this deer management deal where it's like, hey, here's the rules. Here's what we're going to all agree to. We're not going to shoot it unless it's an 8-point, it's this age, blah, 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 etc. Which I get. Like, I can respect that, right? So you're trying to shoot more mature deer. But the reality is, a lot of the guys we're hunting with, they're only in town for a day or 2 days, visiting family for Thanksgiving.
Right.
And so it's like, if it was brown, it was down, was kind of the rule. You know what I'm saying? So what would happen is these guys above this property would pass on these deer. They'd be sitting in their stand, freezing their butt off. It'd be freaking 15 degrees out, wind chills probably negative, to be honest. That's what we hunted in a lot of the times. And those deer would cross the property line, and they would hit where our guys were, and bullets were flying. Lead was
and the guys
slinging,
up the hill heard
and there was no hesitation.
What the?
They weren't even questioning it. That deer was getting smoked.
Yeah.
And so we kind of chuckled because, at the end of the day, if you went out to like the local bar, which is only like 2, you'd run into the guy. He's like, "Oh man, I saw this 8-point." And then one of my cousins would be like, "Yeah, I still got blood from that 8-point on my fingernails when I was gutting it earlier." Like, "Oh, we let that one go." It's like, "Oh, not down here."
It thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Nice. And I think it's just one of those things where it's like everyone respects an older, mature animal. But if you only have so much, if you maybe have kids, a family, stuff like that, you only have so much time, you got to make most of it,
Yeah, for sure.
I like that. If it's brown, it's down.
If it's
brown, it's down. And
that sounds more like a bathroom comment.
And he would smirk, and you'd see him go off in the brush with his shotgun. He's got 5 opportunities to make it happen.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So, I don't think I've ever... Is it different freaking hunting with a shotgun? I mean, they don't have as much range, do they?
No, dude. So they have 2 kind of shotguns. You're shooting slugs. You're not shooting buckshot out there. So you got smooth bore or rifled bore.
They had to be slugs.
Rifle barrel. What was that?
They had to be slugs.
Yeah, you couldn't use buckshot out west. And all the other counties.
You wouldn't want to try and kill a freaking deer with buckshot.
Oh, you
can't even kill an intruder with buckshot. You just fuck them up really bad.
I think down south they do buckshot though. Yeah. Down south is a buckshot.
Really?
Yeah. And even down by where Shane was might be buckshot.
Oh wow.
But they'd always do slugs, and so a really it's kind of funny talking to you about this, right? Because you're running this shop. It's like a really dialed in rifled barrel shotgun that's super tuned in. You're talking like 100 to 125 yard.
And that's probably
max.
And that's probably
max.
Like maybe hitting a freaking 12 or 18 inch pattern.
Absolutely.
Because they're not designed for accuracy at all.
Those guns, which is what we were hunting, were brush clears.
It's no wonder they do so much archery hunting over that way.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, because
that's way more accurate.
And so what we would do is that my whole family transitioned to muzzleloader hunting.
Yeah.
Which I've chatted with you a little bit about because it would give us a little more range. And our biggest thing was you only had 1 shot.
You had to make it count.
And so you had to make it count. And so it's a big deal. Instead of like just shotguns, you'd hear them ripping
Blast.
off, man.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom. It's like by the 3rd shot, you're like, that guy's just shooting from the hip. Like he's hoping or praying. But with a muzzleloader, you only have 1 shot, and you're lucky if that even goes off.
Yeah.
And so we had out there in New York, we'd have archery season, shotgun season. Or no, he said, excuse me, archery season, muzzleloader, then shotgun, and then muzzleloader again. And so we were able to shoot 4 or 5 deer back.
Are they like 30 days?
That's almost guaranteed.
Oh, yeah. And they had
a couple weeks, 30 days.
You guys have bag limits over there, right? Not just a tag.
Animal.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And so to shoot 4 or 5 deer in a season out there was normal. Wasn't a big deal. It's just what would happen. You'd hunt from October on. You'd be hunting archery, and then you'd shift into muzzleloader shotgun. And and then you'd hit it again, and you just keep hunting. You'd had all those guns in your truck.
That would be
And it's
sweet.
like for the next couple of months, we're just
Are you gonna
smoking
get anything
deer.
done this weekend? No, it's still
I'm going
hunting
hunting.
season. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm going
yeah.
hunting. Sorry.
And it got
Don't
so
go, I'm
cold
going
out
hunting.
there. And a lot of times we would do these deer drives, grab the deer, clean, field dress them, huck them in a truck. And then my one cousin had like pulley system set up where you'd back the truck up, you'd pulley the deer 20 feet in the air because we had coyotes out there. And these deer would freeze solid.
Oh, wow.
These deer
Just
would
like a meat
freeze
room, yeah.
They'd freeze solid outside. So you'd drive by my cousin's house. He's got 7-8 deer hanging up in the trees for a month.
Freaking deer sickles.
The deer sickles everywhere. And you leave them up there. And then what we would do is at the end of the season, we all get together and we would hack all these deer up at once.
That's kind of cool though, because I mean, they're preserved.
There's no hustling at all.
I wish it would be colder during hunting season here because
they make it so much easier. Because as soon as you get something down, you got to do something with it.
Yeah. I mean, you can usually hang it for 2 or 3 days, but you can't mess around or you'll freaking lose your meat because it gets too hot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mike and I are kind of obsessed with freaking skinning and gutting and processing deer.
You are? Are you guys doing this yourself?
Oh, we do everything.
We get it
really
done. We get it done pretty quick.
I'd love to hear your take on this because
we've watched a lot of videos. People do it some different ways. It's weird. Like I said, the tennis ball.
Yes.
thing.
Have you guys done that?
No.
It's amazing. We use a golf ball.
Yeah.
Golf ball up to a tree, maybe with a truck or a tractor pulling it off.
Make a
game changer.
I've seen a guy do an elk that way, but
I haven't seen the elk.
I've never actually done it, but
it's a game changer.
Yeah. Dude, we do it with a knife and a hand, and we're pretty damn fast, dude.
Well, so you guys might be fast enough; it doesn't really matter,
right.
If you're quick enough with it. But we do a tennis ball.
I've seen people with the air.
Yes, I've seen that too. Between the skin and the muscle
in Texas on that one video.
Texas is a different animal down there.
We're guys. We watch stupid shit.
Yeah.
You get obsessed with stupid shit. And then you have one conversation with someone, and the next thing you know, you're sharing 57 videos.
Next thing you know, you're out there with a sawzall and a barrel, and it's like, what's going on over there? It's like, I saw this.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, somebody puts a show on freaking Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you're freaking obsessed with watching what you used to just watch 5-second videos of.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Stuff.
My wife will catch me watching. I'm like, I'm just trying to get ready for my Colorado hunt so I can be more effective. You get out there and just start hacking and slashing.
But honestly, anymore, there's such a long wait, and it's so expensive to have anybody else process your meat for
Definitely.
you.
And the price.
And you turn into that conversation of like, was this my own meat?
Right. Yeah. You don't.
And a lot of times, I've never taken mine. I did take mine to one person once, and it was a disaster. And a lot of guys I talked to, even around here, they're like, well, I brought it in. It's like, I don't know what I got back, but it definitely was not the animal I brought in there. So you guys have, see, this stuff I love. Because I love, obviously, hunting and shooting, but I love the processing, I think, just as much.
We freaking pull out a bottle of whiskey and freaking set up the table.
Yeah.
Just get
Usually I'll
it.
grab the kids will freaking hang out, and they'll run the vacuum sealer and freaking Sharpie.
You got to have someone cutting the bags, someone vacuum sealing it.
We turn it into a whole freaking thing.
Which I think is super cool. And my cousin, I was just telling you guys about, when we were doing this stuff, he'd have his 2 little girls that he had to get a stool up to the bench, and they'd love running the vacuum sealer or running the grinder, you know? And they were all about it. And they'd sit down there for 4 or 5 hours doing that.
So when I was a kid, it was different. So I guess my family was pretty old school traditional.
Yeah.
Because the men did all the hunting.
Yeah.
And then
they skinned, and after it was done hanging, they would debone it.
Yep.
Cut it into smaller chunks or whatever.
Like quarter it up kind of deal.
Quarter it up type thing.
Yep.
And then they'd bring it in the house, and the women took care of all the rest of the processing. So
really?
I didn't know any of that stuff. I actually learned
most of it. So you walked away at that point. You're like...
I learned most of that stuff from Mike because...
No shit.
The men weren't involved in that. And I was just a boy. I was just a little kid. But if you're a freaking boy, you're not going in where all the girls are at. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So how did you teach them this stuff, Mike? Like, how did you guys start diving into that?
We just got into it, man.
Was this like a couple years ago? Or
we've been hunting together for 20-something years now.
No shit.
I had a good friend right out of high school. He actually worked for one of the local butcher shops.
Okay.
And so he showed me quite a few tricks, and then...
Dude, the butcher shops are a different animal. Yeah. Those guys are so dialed in.
Yeah.
Well, and then we got into watching these videos, like I said.
yeah.
Yes.
And so, I mean, and what's weird is not everybody does it the same.
Yeah.
Everybody does
There's
different
a
stuff.
million different ways.
But it was like, oh, it's not how you do it. It's like, a couple ways you can do it. But you start watching these videos, you start seeing when it works. You start all the tips and tricks kind of deal.
It's like
Yeah, a
whatever's
couple episodes ago, I had my buddy Ernie
Yes.
on, and Ernie was telling us, he had a chef that he's a hunting guide. He took this chef out on a hunting trip.
Yeah.
They killed a blacktail,
Nice.
and they do, what do they call it, a saddle cut?
Yeah.
So basically, instead of
Did you get on the horses?
well, no, this was
The
this was a black-tailed deer.
Yeah.
But instead of you got your back strap and your rib meat and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, instead of cutting those out separate, they take like the whole torso of the deer
The whole rib cage.
and they freaking cut chunks. So you've got they call it a saddle cut, and it's got basically 2 little rounds of backstrap, some rib meat.
Kind of like a tomahawk.
Yeah, it's almost like a tomahawk, and that's how they cut their meat.
So they have like a cleaver when they're out there in the woods chopping that up because that's some hacking. And
I don't
slashing,
know
man.
if they did that or if they used some kind of a saw or something. I don't know how they
yeah,
did
bone
it, but
saw
that's how they
probably
do it.
Really?
And then he freaking roasted it or barbecued
Right
it like
there
that.
on the bone.
That's wild.
Yeah, and he
So
said it
they're
was
not doing.
amazing, but it was something totally different that he had never seen. So,
I think
it's,
I would
it's
like
crazy
to try
that there's
for at
lots of
least one
different ways to
animal.
do stuff. Yeah,
And I feel like you learn from it, So like
absolutely.
when we were in Colorado, we shot these 2 elk. And these cowboys had to go in and get it because we hiked in way too far, couldn't pack it out. And my cousin was telling me, he's like, he rode with them, 2 cowboys and my cousin. And he's like, dude, these guys are hilarious. Like all they brought with them was Rolling Rock and a can of dip. They didn't eat lunch or nothing. You know what I mean? And so he's going in.
They were hardcore.
They were hardcore. Well, so what happened is we shot these elk and we came out, realized we were in too deep, and there's a snowstorm rolling in. And these 2 young bucks are in their 20s were the only ones that agreed to go in for us. Like everyone else was like, this is dumb. Why would we do this? These young bucks agreed to do it. So they go in and do this. And they go in and my cousin's going in with him. He's like, all they're doing is just dipping. And they're telling each other jokes that don't make any sense, but they're laughing their asses off,
Inside jokes the whole
Inside
time.
jokes. And they get down to the elk and they, which I didn't realize with the mules, is that, we had everything quartered at this point in a creek, and they'd take the quarters and they put it in one saddlebag on the right side, and they put it on the left, and they'd weigh them all before they put them in.
You have to even out the load.
Exactly. So if it was off, instead of like undoing the bag and skimming a little meat off, they'd just throw rocks in, and they'd even it out. So instead of taking weight off, they'd almost add more weight, and they'd even
What's
these.
better than them fucking wasting any of their meat?
They weren't messing around. So they'd even these things out, and these guys ended up coming out in the snowstorm. So my cousin and I, we shot these 2 elk way back in. Cowboys are heading to get them. That morning, the other cousin and I went in and ended up shooting a 3rd elk. And so the cowboys are coming in. We've already smoked this elk, and they're like, well, you guys only hired us to carry out 2.
Yeah, this is going to be excellent.
And we're staring there, the 3rd one down on the ground. And so he's like, well, carry out what you can. We'll try to get the rest. And so we grabbed both hindquarters. We're at like 11,000 feet. We hiked this thing uphill for 4 miles, and I was gassed. We get like a quarter mile from the truck. Hail starts coming down. It feels like a BB gun to your neck. And so we get to the top of the mountain, plop our backpacks, guns down. Snow's coming down hard. And we're at this radio tower. And about 100 yards away is this bathroom, just a generic restroom. So we scramble over there. There's no heat, no lights, no nothing. We circle around that bathroom for an hour. Hypothermia starting to set in. We're freezing, shaking bad. And we can't get my other cousin with the cowboys on the radio. Finally, he cues up. Yeah, we're coming. And snow's coming in sideways. And so we finally get him on the radio. He's coming up. He's about to hit the radio tower. So we scurry out of this restroom. We've been in for probably 2 hours. Get over the radio tower, and sure as shit, there they are. And I'll never forget this. When these cowboys rolled up, these guys have one fucking pace. And it's the same.
Yeah.
It's not quick. It's not slow. It's kind of a little slow. But these guys, the snow's coming in sideways, and they pull these horses up, and they flip the flaps off of them, off the packs, grab the meat. Snow's hitting them in the face, pelting them.
It's like nothing.
And they didn't give them shit. It could have been 70 degrees out. It could have been 7 degrees out. It didn't matter. It didn't change their pace. So they unload these packs. and throw it all in the trailer. And they got, I don't know, probably 6 animals, a couple horses, a couple mules. We get everything unloaded. They get the truck packed up. And this is a single cab Dodge diesel, right? With a 5th wheel horse trailer. And so it'll fit both cowboys and my one cousin. And they looked at my other cousin and I, and they said, hey, well, if you guys want to head down the mountain, you could sit in a flatbed. And I looked at my cousin and said, that's not going to fucking happen. Because we got to drop about 3,000 feet in elevation. And this is fucking snow-covered, ice-covered deal. Like, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. So anyways, we scurried back into the restroom for another 2 hours, dude. Oh. We thought we were, like, literally going to die in there. Like, it was so cold. We're both shaking. There's no one up there. Snow's coming down. My other cousin ended up going down with the cowboys, dropping everything off. He made it back up. He's like, I had it in 4 low, every single tire locked in. He's like, it was chugging.
That's all I could do.
Yeah, all I could do. He got up there. We threw everything in the truck. We get back down to camp, and we're sitting in there in the cabin, stoking the fire, just cranking. I'm sitting there just shaking for a couple hours. And my one cousin that rode down with the cowboys comes, sits next to me, and he's like, yeah, it was pretty fucked up there. And I was like, yeah, it was. And he goes, well, after we left you guys, because they hopped in the truck, single cab, 2 cowboys. And so we started driving. And next thing we know, there's our tracks. It was so bad that at the top of this mountain where this radio tower was, they had done a complete circle and ran over their own tracks. He had to hop out and direct them down the mountain
to find the road.
And he goes, it was brutal. He's like, if you guys would have been on the back of that truck, it would not have been good. And I'll never forget that because I'm like, I start now having a kiddo and stuff. I'm like, I got to be careful of that shit, you know? You got to do what you can. But it's funny how those stories of like, you're kind of walking the line between dying and not. It's like all of a sudden, you're like, yeah, you remember that pretty well, you know?
Turns into real life.
It's kind of like a sick humor. It's like, that was a good time. It's like at the time, it wasn't great, you know?
Yeah. Those are the best stories, though, man.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are the best ones. So, you're a little bit of a gun guy then. I know you're more into hunting and everything.
Yeah.
I know I hooked you up with a couple of Ruger Mark IVs and some suppressors for those. Have you gotten a chance to get out there and shoot those? Or
man, we have. Those things are awesome. So back in New York, as I'm sure you guys can imagine, there wasn't a lot of suppressors flying around.
Yeah.
You know, so we've had those 22. So Mark IV is just a little 22 deal with suppressors on. It's been awesome. It's actually how I've got my wife into shooting.
She likes them, huh?
She likes them because I had to shoot my 9mm. It's a little too much for those Mark IVs. Super great gun. Super easy to shoot. 22, low recoil, especially with silencers is awesome.
Nice.
So when you hooked us up with those, she loves shooting them. She loves just plinking. You can't load them fast enough. When I go out shooting with her, she's shooting them. I'm filling those clips as fast as I can. Yeah, she loves them.
Yeah,
it's a good little gun. Especially for around here with the birds and stuff, you know. I feel like that's a good gun to carry. Driving around, see a little bird on the side of the road.
Need to get you set up with a little rifle with suppressor now. You can expand on what she's got going on.
Well, that's kind of my thought too. I got a little 22 Savage.
Squirrel hunting.
There it is. There it is. Sneak up on them.
I got a couple weeks ago, went out shooting with one of our sales reps for Silencer Co.
Yeah.
Silencer suppressor company. And he brought all his different suppressors out, so we got to try out a bunch. And tried out this, I don't know how you pronounce it. I call it the Psi TI.
Yeah.
It's a titanium suppressor. Dude, that thing weighs nothing.
Super.
But it's like a 30 cal suppressor, so it's
really
freaking awesome for like a hunting rifle.
Yeah.
Especially for like someone that's going to be going way out in the backcountry or on a long hike.
Yes.
It's not adding a ton of weight to your rifle, and it's sweet.
Well, that's the other thing so you had put that muzzle brake on my 300 WSM, my elk gun.
Yeah.
You'd put that on there. And then shortly after, I was doing a bunch of research, and I realized a lot of these guys who are hunting the backcountry, as long as the state allows it, go with the silencer.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Because it's even better than a
exactly.
muzzle brake.
You break that recoil, but then also, like, I don't want to blow my ears out. And before, I mean, shit, when I was a while back, it's like I just When you shoot it, you know what I mean? It's not a big deal. You just take it and you keep shooting, throwing lead down range out in the woods when you're shooting an animal. But now it's kind of like, I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a little quieter. The animal doesn't know what's going on. So that might be the next move, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty cool. And I had a customer the other day who was asking me about recoil, and he was asking if a suppressor would be a good idea, and I had to explain to him that it's, I said it's even better than a muzzle brake.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet. But yeah, so I was interested to know, I've gotten a lot of people like yourself started on their first suppressors and got them started shooting, but I don't get a lot of feedback back, whether or not, they like it that way or what. I know me personally, I don't like to shoot anything that's not suppressed. But,
I think it's a game changer.
yeah.
100%. And I think probably because you've been shooting it for so long, it's like a no-brainer. But now that the muzzle brake's great, don't get me wrong. But then after shooting even the 22, which is about as small as you can get with a silencer,
Yeah.
it's a no-brainer. And then I've started rethinking all my other guns.
Yep.
Because it's like, well, why would I not shoot this with this? It doesn't really change much velocity-wise. It's way quieter. It doesn't extend the barrel that much. You know what I mean? It's super lightweight.
Yeah.
You're not cranking weight up.
I've got my short range hunting rifle and my longer range hunting rifle,
Mm-hmm.
and my longer range hunting rifle is stupid long with that freaking suppressor.
But you've got time, though. You've got time if you're
Yeah.
shooting that long range.
Well, and usually I've got both. Like if we're out, I've got the long one close by, just in case I need to if I'm glassing a unit or sitting on a spot.
They really poke out there.
Then I can get out there. Otherwise, I'm got the other one ready to go.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah.
You can make
He's
that
always
work.
got like 5 different ones to choose from as we're.
Yeah, no kidding. He opens the back door. It's just like this.
There's a
way.
deer over there.
This one, he's got it marked out. Like,
My
this one's
truck
for-
usually has like 4 or 5 guns in it.
This gun's for over 1,000 yards. This one's
That's
600.
not. That one's not far enough.
Mostly just because I'm too lazy to put stuff away afterwards. During hunting season, my truck gets so
That's how
full
hunting
of
season
crap.
is, though.
Yes.
It's just like I would honestly prefer to just load it up and leave. For a
Leave
couple
it.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
You
what
know?
happens.
It's like I'm probably gonna need that muzzle. Leave it in here. At some point, throw it in the garage.
Yeah, and then it turns into a big ordeal when somebody wants to ride with me because I got.
Well, let me move my guns. They're
They
like,
can drive
"What?"
themselves. You know.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. So you're a realtor.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's going good, man. So yeah, I moved out here. I was with the Army Corps of Engineers, and so that's a lot of words. Basically, what it is engineers for the Army. So I was with them for 8 years, and then when I met my wife in Buffalo, upstate New York,
You don't have to be in the Army to be a part of the Army.
you don't. So a lot of the guys that I knew were enlisted at one point, and they had since stepped out. So I had buddies in the Marine, Army, Air Force, all that jazz. Of course, they all gave each other shit.
Yeah.
Like they normally
The
would,
banter,
like you would
yeah.
expect, right? Which I loved. I was with them for 8 years. So when I moved out here, I actually transferred from Buffalo to Eugene. And so I moved out here, transferred out, took a huge pay decrease. I have like a little half-ton gas truck that I drive. But when I moved out here, I had this job up in Eugene, living in Roseburg. So on Craigslist, after driving my truck for like a week, like, this isn't going to work. So I bought this little four-banger, little 4-cylinder Camry, called it Skeeter, because I was living in those apartments behind Walmart, Oak Ridge, whatever it is.
Okay, yeah.
And my morning would start. I'd get up at 5. I'd be in the car by 5:30. I'd start it up. I'd hit I-5 within 2 minutes. That thing would be screaming at 80 miles an hour. That four-banger just ripping off.
Those
louder
little
than
cars
the
are-
radio.
They have floored and not floored.
That's it. You got two speeds. 2 speeds. One of them is park.
It's like the lawnmowers. Rabbit, turtle.
That's it. And this thing, I would scream in this thing up north, park. I'd be the first in the office, last one out. And I beat the shit out of that Camry, which is a great little car. But I did that for a while, and then I transferred back down here to do the financial accounting and books like that for a local real estate company. That was my history, financial background. And then I was cutting the checks for all the real estate agents. And I quickly realized, I was like, well, I'm on the wrong side of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Because you guys don't even roll until 10 o'clock, and you're cutting checks that are like 3-4 months of my pay. And so I was chipping away at getting my real estate license. So I got that real estate license. Been doing it for about 3.5 years now. The real estate company that I'm with, Oregon Life Homes, is the biggest in the county by far. So they just started maybe 2 years ago, maybe a little bit over. And they have smoked by double or triple all the local real estate companies, Berkshire Hathaway, Keller Williams, Century 21, all of them.
So it's still local.
It's still local, but no one knows that. They're like, I've never heard of them. It's like, they're huge.
Nice.
And so last year I finished out number 2, only second to the owner. He's
Awesome.
an absolute animal. He crushes it. He's a phenomenal guy.
Who's that?
Shane Mast. Phenomenal guy. Great real estate agent. He supports a couple communities over in Africa. He's just a phenomenal give back to the community kind of guy.
Nice.
So crushing real estate, doing really good. So it's been great, Matt. You know, the coolest part is a lot of the different stuff we get to do. So
I know you do a lot of extra stuff.
I do because I think real estate's great. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love doing it. I love helping people out, but I'm big on the fulfillment aspect of things. And so recently, I got to join the board of Saving Grace, which is the shelter, the pet shelter here in Roseburg, which is a big deal for me. Because I have like a soft spot for pets. Because I feel like those that don't really have a voice, they get put in a spot. You know what I mean? And then someone's got to help them out. And so I do everything I can for those guys, for the pets. But it's been great, man. With the real estate, I've been to help a lot of people. I'll never forget this one story. I had a vet who was literally living in Stewart Park. Like, had a fifth wheel, an old F-150 kind of deal. Had a dog. He had done his time service. Couldn't get a place. And I had a local lender here in town that I had a relationship with call me, and they're like, Brennan, here's what this guy's approved for. And she's like, I've been a lender for 40 years. Most real estate agents would run from a guy like this because he just doesn't have any money, can't afford it. And I was like, let me see what I can do. And so we found him a place and ended up getting under contract, got his offer accepted, which is super exciting because, like I said, he was floating around from different parks trying to live out his fifth wheel. And we went down there one weekend. We were putting toilets in, heaters in, fixing a roof, got it to finance. Dude's in a home off the street. And that was like I don't remember what that was, $180,000 deal. You know what I mean? Probably the low end of what I usually handle, but is rewarding wise.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal.
Totally
because
phenomenal.
you helped this vet out, get off the streets, find a place to live. He was
Well,
so
it sounds
ecstatic.
like you helped the person selling the house out too, because it sounds like it wasn't even financing.
It wasn't. It was, and the other agent didn't want to do anything. She's like, "It's just this kind of is. I'm just going to sell this house, and I don't want to do much." And afterwards, the lender reached out to me. She's like, "I've been doing this for a long time, and not a lot of people do that." And so that's kind of stuff that I like to do.
Right.
It's just when someone's like, "This can't be done," I'm like, "There's always a way. There's always a solution. There's always a way to get it done, and then just get it taken care of." So real estate's been great, man. I love helping people out, first time home buyers, people looking to move here to see families, people doing job changes and stuff.
Dogs and cats.
Dogs and cats, yeah. All of them, man. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
I think you got to be well rounded, you know?
That's cool.
So do you
That's
do
cool.
commercial properties too? Or
Yeah.
Both?
Yeah. A little bit of everything.
Cool.
Yeah. I always like to learn. So I got a business degree in management and marketing. So I have a 4-year degree literally in marketing.
Awesome.
My background's in finance and stuff like that. So I love doing that kind of stuff. And like Carlos, the more I get to know you, is you guys are super involved in the community, which I think is, for me, a big marker of like a very successful business is not only making a lot of money, but you guys are like giving back to the community.
Yeah, it kind of shows the values, you know.
It does show the values.
Personal
Shows the values.
Well, I don't know that I hit the making a lot of money part, but I think it's part of being it's part of having a business. The whole reason I wanted to was not only so that I could just work for myself or whatever, but it's important to me to give back to the community. You know, it's
huge,
important
man.
to me. And honestly, I found I've gotten more out of that than I get out of my advertising money. You know,
Agreed.
I get more customers that come in, simply because they saw me helping out with some organization that they're a part of, or that they've been helped by.
Goes to show you the word of mouth in a smaller community is
It's huge.
Huge. Yeah.
It's huge.
Plus, it feels good and it's cool. And I've met a lot of good people because of it, and I enjoy doing it. So a lot of times I probably give more than I should. I mean, I probably give a lot more. I should probably make more profit before I give as much as I do. But, that's the reason I do it, and I enjoy doing it. So that's what I do. So.
Well, I think it's a big deal, too. If you look around and you understand, I think it's kind of undersold. So like I said, I went to school for 4 years. 4 years of my life, to business. And they never talked about giving back to the community.
Yeah,
once,
I don't think it's talked about a lot.
No.
And it needs to be, I think. Because what I realized is, like you were saying, when people see that you're supporting the community and giving back, and it's like, hey, I recognize you guys supporting me as a business. I appreciate that. I'm going to give back and support whatever the cause may be, whether it's dogs or cats or a school or an auction or anything like that. It's a big deal. People, I think, respect that. You're trying to help build the community.
Definitely.
Especially in any kind of marketing aspect of things.
Yes.
At least in a small community, because it does show a lot.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree with you.
All right. But yeah, so community service I think is great. Helping out the community. I think that's a big part of having a business, and what good are you if you got a business in a community and you're not giving back to the community? So
Absolutely. I totally agree. You got to give back, I think. Because if you realize it's a small community and you're working your butt off to establish a reputation as a good person, as a good business, and they're supporting you, you got to give back, I think.
So, but we're a big community compared to where you're from.
Fair enough. The bar is set low. The bar is set low.
You go from a class of 70 to a class of like 1,500.
Yeah.
So
You seem like you're back in the big city now.
it
You know?
is
Yeah.
compared to in comparison, I guess this is a big city compared to some places,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but, so what kind of stuff do you do in your spare time? I know you, so I know that you're a guy that can't sit still for 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it drives my wife nuts. Yeah, so I usually get up at like 5 a.m, kind of work through the day. I just love working with my hands, man. So I was telling Carlos here not too long ago that I'm actually going through my general contractors
Nice.
course and licensing. That's my next plan. So right now, this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, instead of kicking back and relaxing, we're going to be doing a little roofing action. So we're doing some roofing and painting. That's kind of my next thing is real estate's great. I've realized I think there's a little bit of void in the local market for contractors to handle that kind of middle ground work. And so I'm going to get my license in that and kind of.
You're going to keep doing the real estate thing too.
Yeah.
Nice.
The real estate's good. I like doing it. I think I'm good at it. I got it pretty well dialed in as far as the process and everything. But I just really like working with my hands, man. I don't know if it's my upbringing, working with my uncle, like I was telling you at lunch here, who used to be construction. He taught me a lot. I like to stick into that and just kind of get some experience doing some more general contractor stuff. So that's kind of the plan for right now is just get that license and just kind of, I've been already doing the work anyways. You know what I mean? And home projects and renovations, things like that. But just, that's the goal. Just kind of shoot towards that. Yeah.
I think that's freaking cool, man.
Yes.
I wish I had energy to do that.
But it's a good learning opportunity,
Yeah.
Stuff always comes up, and either if you don't know it, you just got to learn it.
But you have other hobbies too. I know last time you and I were talking, you told me that you decided that you needed to become a biker. So
Yes.
now you got a street bike
Guilty,
and
yeah.
a little street bike crew.
Wife was not super happy
I
about
don't
that.
think you even saw me, but I took my wife to breakfast. It's been a couple months ago,
Yeah.
and saw you hanging out at Black and Blue.
Oh yeah.
With your little biker crew.
That's
all
the
in your
crew,
little
man.
matching freaking
Yes.
biker outfits.
That's the crew. Yeah, so we go out there every week. Yeah, met a really good group of guys that ride bikes in town here, and so realized I have probably the smallest bike out of all of them.
Are you guys going to come ride in the Ride for 22?
I should talk to them about that. I don't
Do
know.
it, man.
I've been out for a couple weeks, so they might already have this planned out.
Yeah.
So ride for 22. I know it's for vets. When is that? When is that happening?
July 20th, I think.
Because I know we have at least one vet in that group. At least
seems
one.
like it's the end of July.
I think there's a
every
couple
year.
actually.
You guys, you should try and get them to come to the kickoff party the night before.
Okay.
Because we'll do the live auction and stuff.
Definitely.
And then
It's-
I think it's
pretty neat, pretty entertaining.
Man, you
Very.
gotta shoot me some details on it because I know we have at least one, if not a couple, vets in that group that ride, and it sounds like it'd be right up their alley.
yeah, I don't know exactly. I believe it's July 20th or something like that.
Well, I don't see them on Sunday, so I'll bring it up to
Yeah.
them and see, man. They would love to do that. But yeah, so got a bike. So I went through this this transition period, I'm gonna call it.
It's called a midlife crisis. Okay.
I guess whatever you want to call it. Yeah, 32. It's like here we are going through this of trying to find stuff that I could do with my wife and with our little kid, and I tried balancing that. So I moved out here with a 4-wheeler. Didn't quite work out. Sold the 4-wheeler. Bought a boat, little 16-foot fishing boat. That didn't work out. And then I got to the point where I was like, well, this isn't happening. So I might as well just do something I could do by my own. And kind of went down that rabbit hole, man.
That's your getaway.
I've been wanting to get a
That's
bike.
the story of marriage.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And then it was one of those things I've been wanting to do since I was a kid. My dad always told me, he's like, hey, if you buy a motorcycle, you better find somewhere else to live. You know what I mean? It's like, you're not going to live in this house.
Did you
under
call
this
him up
roof.
after you bought it and said, hey,
Oh,
guess
shit,
what?
yeah, I did.
I already have my own place,
Yeah.
fucker.
Yes, I
I
did.
sent him the picture and then just let it kind of marinate.
Look,
You know?
look what
Sent
I
it to him and
got.
my brother, and he let it rest for a couple days, and he ended up calling me up. But yeah, so I got a bike. It's been amazing. I love it. I don't know why I didn't do it earlier. I'm as safe as one can be with a bike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're trying to rip your sockets out of your arms, but no, it's been great, man. I love riding that thing. I've had it for a couple months now. Just shoot out. We live in a great spot.
A sport bike or a
It's-
cruiser?
Yeah, it's a Duke.
It's a crotch
a
rocket.
KTM Duke 790. So it's like a border between like a naked bike, which is very stripped down, lightweight bike, and a crotch rocket. Very upright seating position. It's not like a Harley, but it's been great. It's lightweight. It's fun to just kind of drive around. So when I have appointments and stuff in town to meet clients, where it's a short little jaunt,
You're there
I love
instantly,
doing it.
huh?
Yeah, and we live in such a great spot. Like I can cruise down along the Umpqua River
Yeah.
out to Lighthouse
Oh, yeah.
or something like that, and it's awesome.
I've had customers pick up rifles and stuff.
On their bike.
See, I haven't pushed that limit. It's like
Which-
what can fit in my pockets and my
They
jacket.
leave the parking lot and we laugh when we look at the surveillance cameras because we're like,
Do they have it over their back, or how they?
I've had them put them over their back. I've
Couple
had guys that strap them to their bikes.
Have the scabbard on the
Oh,
bike.
dude, I've had all
Road
all
warrior
of it.
shit.
Really?
And I love it. I think it's awesome.
The most I've carried is 2 weeks ago. I had a client who was closing on a house, and so I had my keys, my phone, my sunglasses. I had a whole bottle of champagne in my jacket with a card, and I was maxed out. That's it.
Our buddy Shane,
Yeah,
he rides.
yeah.
He's got 2 super expensive bikes.
Oh, he's got 2. I thought he had 1. He's got 2.
No, he's got like a street bike like yours.
Yeah.
And then he's got like a super expensive like BMW
Yes, like a
Enduro
touring
and
bike.
Touring bike,
Yeah.
yeah. And so you should holler at him and get him to go for a ride. He loves to go like to the coast for
He'd
clam
probably
chowder.
take me to school.
He
Just
loves
a
to
day.
like just go to the coast for a couple hours and grab
I
clam
got a
chowder.
couple hours. Let's go to the coast.
He
I
the
should
other
absolutely
day,
hit him up then, because
the other day he freaking stopped by here
yeah, on his
And-
bike.
on his bike.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing? And he goes, well, I was bored. So we were talking about going camping at the coast, my wife and I.
Yeah.
So I rode my bike down to California. And while I was down there, I was like, I should probably hit up the liquor expo. So he bought like 10 bottles of freaking whiskey.
Does he have like the cargo
Oh, he's got the
boxes
big,
on
he's
it?
got
Yeah.
like $4,000.
He gets
freaking
pulled
hard
over. It's like,
box.
what do you got? It's like,
Yeah. So he comes
10
back
bottles.
here. He comes
Yeah.
straight from here, California to here.
yeah.
And he's like, so I bought like 10 bottles of whiskey, got a little carried away. So I thought I'd come by here and bring you a couple bottles of whiskey, which that's where this old Forester came from.
Oh, really?
yeah. He
That's
picked
in
that up from me
California?
in California while he was down there.
California
But that was
Forester.
just his couple hour cruise
Drive,
in the
yeah.
That is
morning
wild.
on his day off.
That's
Yeah.
a different level.
Yeah.
I should hit him up though because I feel like that's the kind of
Well,
psychopath.
and I don't think he has a lot of people to ride with.
Right.
Really,
So he would
He's
probably love
always,
it,
yeah.
I love getting out, man. It's awesome. It's just so like we were kind of talking about earlier with the snowmobiles and stuff. So I grew up when I was like 4.
Yeah, dude, when I did my deep dive into your freaking Facebook history, you were like every picture you're freaking active, like snowmobiles, water skiing, freaking. What'd you play, lacrosse?
I played a little bit of soccer, a little bit,
I don't know. I just saw you in jerseys. Everything. I was like, I don't know what sport this is, but whatever.
Dude, so we woke up as I was 4 years old, coming down, Christmas trees all set up. You open all your gifts, and there's just something behind a tree, and it's a fucking snowmobile.
Nice.
Behind the tree?
One of those Arctic Cat kitty cat deals.
Little guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got like the mower engine in it, one headlight, And my brother ran that shit into the front of the house within 3 hours. Like it was one of those deals where you could like one guy could pick up the whole machine, and set it out. And we got more trouble on that thing than anything else, man.
Tried to ride it till you
we would run that thing until it was out of gas. And we'd run the shit out of. We would wear tracks, a figure 8 in the front yard. But I'll never forget my brother running that thing. There's a step down from our front door to the house, a concrete step, and he ran that thing right into that, and he hit it, and he just held it. He held the gas. He held the gas.
Just going.
Tracks just spinning, engine screaming, and it's kind of how it all started, man. It's just there's no getting away from it. Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell you were a total like adrenaline junkie when you were a kid, weren't you?
Man, it's hard to get away from it though. I feel like it's kind of inbred in you. If your family's into that stuff, it's like that's where you end up. That's the norm.
Dude, I have a buddy that I met from going to SHOT Show with the industry and stuff.
Sure.
And he's like the marketing president for fucking Canic or whatever. It's a big job, right?
Sure.
So he's always going all of these shows all over the fucking world and posting on Instagram and stuff. And I follow him and we BS every once in a while and talk where it shows. He just posted a video. I was the most jealous I've ever been in my life. So apparently he was in Japan. He went to Japan and they have a thing in Japan, the fucking video game Mario Kart.
Oh yeah.
So it's like real Mario Kart.
Hell yeah.
They've got these freaking, what do you call them?
Big kid go-karts.
Big go-karts. And they're like decked out like different race cars from Mario Kart. And all his people
like
are
life size. Like they're actually.
They're regular go-karts.
For adults.
And they're all putting costumes on. Like they put costumes on.
Are they throwing shit?
Yeah, throw bananas out the back.
But they're fucking driving these go-karts, and it looks. I'm pretty sure it's just right on the regular roads,
friggin' street
in freaking in Japan. And it was nighttime. There's
like on asphalt, like on
asphalt. There's cars driving by, but they're in these little tiny go-karts in fucking
crazy.
Costumes with fucking neon lights on them.
You imagine the garage door goes up. Garage door goes up. It's pitch black out. And all of a sudden you see Carlos and the fucking glow sticks light up and he rolls out of there in like a Luigi get up.
In a loud ass go-kart, just start fucking
straight piped. And he's just screaming down to the cul-de-sac.
That's literally what this video was.
Really?
And I guess it must be an actual thing there because he had freaking he videotaped a couple minutes of him freaking hauling ass down these freaking roads.
That's funny
it looks scary as shit because there's full size cars driving by.
Oh yeah, he's one moving away from
on the fucking
smoked.
ground in a freaking go-kart.
They're gonna get crushed.
But yeah, that's adrenaline right there, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, so we were laughing because that same motorcycle crew you were talking about, a black and blue we met up with, the one fellow lives right down the street from me, and so he's got a couple acres on the river, and I noticed one day. He has like he rototilled his lawn in like a weird pattern, like a dirt track pattern. And I started,
like, are we pit biking?
Yeah,
over
so I talked to him next week, and I was like, "What's going on with your lawn?" He's like, "I'm sick of mowing it." And I was like, "I can understand that." And he goes, "I bought a couple go-karts." And sure as shit, like every week he's got a crew out there.
They just tear it up.
He's got a little flat track, and they have a couple little pit bikes and go karts, and they just shred it.
Nice.
They shred up Mario Kart style, and they just get after it.
That's awesome.
Which I think is
Just a big
anyone's
kid,
dream.
right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like getting on a go-kart, you can ride around a track. Why would you not do that?
I missed my call. I missed it, dude. I'm too old. If somebody starts
shit.
doing that in my yard,
You
I'd be
still
like,
got time.
fuck, you're messing my lawn.
Yeah,
up,
get
dude.
off my yard.
I'd fucking hose them down with my garden hose.
Stand there with the cigar.
Yeah.
Get off my fucking grass.
Yeah, I'm the old man that fucking everybody just fucking picks on, dude.
That's what happens, though, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did that, and I was like, that's how you know you made it, you know?
Yep.
Just ride go-karts like you're a young buck around your yard just racing them.
Did you
That's
ever
awesome.
finish your man cave? Or did you already lose it?
I did. No, I did. I am also losing it, yeah.
Yeah.
To answer your question, yes and yes.
Yes and yes.
So what happened was...
I told him as soon as he started fixing it.
Yep.
He goes, I was losing the whole house, so I had to do my own freaking thing. And I said, the minute you get it done, your wife's going to steal it from you, dude.
That's 100%. So Carlos is absolutely correct in that. So what happened was we finished work on the house. We have this 2-car garage. I ripped everything out, insulated, drywalled, put a utility sink in, canless lights, everything. HVAC,
in it, yeah.
HVAC unit dialed in. I mean,
Shit.
super nice, I would think. You know, a little spot, set up office. And I'm in there for like a week. I was like, oh, yeah, we'll get a little area for Faye, our daughter. You know, so we put a little area with matted, those mats, that puzzle pieces mats that go together, whatever, in her toys.
Oh, Faye took it over.
So she took it over a little bit, and then I put a TV up in there, and then so I have my side-by-side in there and my bike in there. I'm like, oh, perfect. Like, everything I need, you know, I'm pretty well set. I'm happy with this, content with this. And then it started turning, and here's how it all happens, and I'm sure you guys can agree with this. Here's how the conversation starts. It goes, hey, what if we, and then anything that follows those 3 words
What if we?
is going to be a huge problem for you.
That's why you're redoing the barn now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I spent a couple months blowing insulation into this thing, drywall and mudding at 1 a.m, all this crazy stuff. And I sit down on my desk chair. I was like, oh, done it. We finally made it. And then it's like, what if we
You should have good job, sweetie.
put flooring down in the garage? And it's like, well, that's not going to happen because this is an office space, garage space. It's like, what if we put the side-by-side outside? What if we, and it just keeps going, you know, it keeps building. You're like 30 seconds into enjoying this 5 months worth of work
that you've
to
done.
get this thing to where you thought it needed to be.
Now I know why I haven't ever got my invitation over to the freaking man cave.
Oh man!
The
I mean,
man
it
cave's
was a
gone.
it was a big deal for me because when I moved out from New York to Oregon, I packed a bunch of bull elk racks in my truck, and I have not been able to handle a single one of those
You made room
fucking
for
elk
them.
racks up until we bought this house. And I have it up there. I got my elk rack. I was a nice little 6x6.
It's like, what if we move that over?
Yeah, it's like, well, where are we gonna put? Well, I got to put a mirror up here, and I got to do this. It's like, I'm like, no, that's not happening. First thing is, at least one of these elk racks is going up because I carried them all the way from New York. You know what I mean? But yeah, to answer your question,
You started off all wrong. You started off with it at least.
Dude, it
That
doesn't.
means you already admitted defeat.
It doesn't last long. It's like you go through these crazy hours, long months of making this what you want, and then it's just like, what if we just take over that space you just created? And it's like, why don't I just work out in the truck?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's wild, man. So we'll see how this pans out.
Well, if all fails, I got 2 extra offices, dude. I'll rent you a space.
We might need to. So
You can have your own little man cave next to mine.
I thought I was getting away from it because I rented a space at our
didn't
real
want to
estate
rent
office.
a space, yeah.
And then I was like, well, I don't need to rent this space. I got a whole house.
I got a garage.
That was my
and
first
I can-
mistake.
Yeah.
You know, I got a whole house. I got a whole
No.
garage.
No, the only way you get your own space is to get away.
Yeah.
Agreed. So, like, here's my question for you two, right? It's like, is that own space a shop? Are you still not far enough away? That's the question. How far away do you need to be?
I don't think I can get any farther. I've been divorced for quite a while, man.
Mike doesn't have to worry about
There's
it.
your answer
Nothing.
right there.
But my wife
wouldn't
doesn't
wish
try
upon
and come in
anyone.
here.
Don't get me wrong. It sucks.
My wife has the house.
It's horrible.
She pretty much has the whole freaking house. I have my office.
So where are
in the
you
store.
at?
The
Is your
plants,
I'm right here.
The plants.
Right here in my
This is
office,
it?
dude.
This is it.
This is my spot.
Yep.
If I had other toys, they'd probably be parked out behind the store
Oh yeah, 100% would
because I'd be afraid somebody would touch them at the house.
be. Yeah,
So,
they'd just be stashed here.
yeah. And my wife's just as crazy as our kids, so I couldn't trust her with my stuff.
No.
No. You got to stash it somewhere.
I can't even
The
trust.
lawnmower.
So I'll tell you this.
The lawnmower?
The story about the lawnmower when you got it.
Oh, dude, I don't even want to get. So I'll tell you this,
A lawnmower? Can it be that bad?
dude. It got 4 wheels on it, and she's freaking crazy.
Here we go.
That's all you need.
Yeah,
A little bit
no,
crazy
but-
and 4 wheels.
So I can't even trust my wife with my razor blades, dude.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know where this is going to go, but I can only
So,
imagine. You got
I-
sharp objects.
I don't believe in sharing 2 things: toothbrushes and
Yeah.
razor blades.
Fair.
The first one I understand. The second one, that's a little wily.
No,
We're
dude,
sharing
I-
razor blades?
I don't-
So, like, what has happened to this
Have
razor
you
blade?
seen a fucking woman's razor blades?
No.
They're disgusting.
Oh, you said like shaver. Like
Yeah,
a shave.
like
okay.
they shave.
I
Their,
thought you were talking about like utility.
like you
knife.
shave
I
your
was like, no,
face.
I've never
They
seen
shave
a
their
woman.
legs and armpits
Yeah.
and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
But-
no, I get you.
So you
I'm
shave your
tracking.
face and then you clean your razor blade.
Yeah, I'm not
Women
an,
don't
I'm not
do
an
that.
animal.
Women don't do that.
They're animals.
They shave and just set it on the fucking thing in the mirror in the shower.
I'll
For
clean
next
it.
time.
I'll clean it next time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's disgusting. And so I don't share those 2 things. Well,
That's fair. Yeah.
so my wife has always had her own fucking razors and whatnot. No big deal.
Until.
All of a sudden, she just decided she's not going to get razors anymore.
Because she
She'll
can
just
use
take
yours.
mine.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
So I
Is
buy
it multi-blade, though? It's not a single blade. I'll tell
No,
you
it's
that, right?
multi-blade.
There, that's where you get suckered in.
So I
What's
buy
yours
these
is
blades, I buy
mine.
my
Yeah.
razors, and all I do is trim around my beard. I don't have a lot of shaving, so one razor lasts me for like
Ever.
a month or so.
That's kind of where I'm at, too.
and
Yeah.
and so I buy a 4-pack of razors. Instantly within
she says,
within a week or
"Thank
2,
you."
all of a sudden I'm down to one razor, and I'm like, well, apparently I'm freaking getting my shit stolen now. And so I take the one that I'm using, and I start hiding it in my
I was
overnight
going to
bag.
ask you if you're hiding it
I'm
somewhere.
hiding it in my
Yeah.
overnight bag,
You're
which
stashing it.
obviously I should not even have to do for the first thing.
Yeah, but here we are, though.
Well, then, like, I need to shave right now.
Yeah.
I can't do it
Don't have a
because
razor.
she stole my last fucking hidden razor blade, and I freaking yelled at her.
Did you ask her? It's like, hey, by chance.
No,
you
I-
try to lob it
I
up there,
didn't
like
even
give her a
ask.
shot, you
I
know?
don't even ask. Nobody comes in my bathroom except my wife.
You're like,
Yeah.
what the
So I don't have to ask. I already know who the thief is.
fuck?
Like, so that razor blade you've been silver, man.
I was like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah.
God.
That's funny thing is, like, there's a lot you'll share, but there's a certain point where it's like, I gotta draw a line somewhere.
Yeah.
You
This
know?
is mine, damn it.
Fuck.
Mine.
Yep.
What are you acting
So
so crazy
let me ask
for?
you this. I'm going to turn this around and start asking some questions here. So my daughter is the same age as your granddaughter.
My youngest, yeah.
Your youngest, yeah. So being a granddad now, like, how do you view that, having a little youngster running around versus your kiddos?
Oh, dude, I hated my kids, dude. I wanted to beat the fuck out of them. My grandkids can't do anything wrong. My wife watches them.
There it is right there. My grandkids can do nothing wrong.
So
Yes.
my wife watches them full time.
Yeah.
So she views them just like kids.
No shit.
Like she wants to knock the shit out of them, and she's
Yeah.
at the end of the week she's done with them,
Tapped out.
which kind of sucks because it makes it so that I don't get to see them as much. Because on the weekend when I have time to see them, she doesn't want them
She's already
over
maxed
all
out.
the time. You know.
Yeah.
Which I understand, but for me, I don't ever see them. I hardly ever see them. Like once in a while, I'll go home early just so that I can hang out with them for an hour before their mom gets there.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, they don't. All the shit that my kids used to make me so mad about, my grandkids just.
They can do it.
I think this is the thing right here, though. Is
In
like
fact, half the time I instigate it.
you just like spark it a little bit. You throw a
Oh,
little
yeah.
gas on the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So-
my middle
Sugar them
grandkid,
up and send them home.
Yeah, exactly.
Lyra, my middle grandkid, she's insane. That kid is a psycho. And
She gets it from grandpa.
Yeah.
but yeah, I freaking egg her on, dude. I'll teach her more shit. I don't
You
care.
send her off home. It's like good luck back there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
So like, But my wife's dad, very good dude, very good guy. But it's funny because my wife's mom was saying like, hey, he didn't used to be like this with you. But like when he has a granddaughter, it's a free for all.
Totally different.
And I don't know what it is. I mean, I can't pretend to understand that because I'm not a granddad. But it's almost like, hey, just do whatever you want.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
And we'll be fine with it. And we might even encourage it. Why don't you throw a little fuel on the fire?
Yeah.
And it's like they love that, though.
It's almost to
Like her dad with our daughter, he loves it. She can be a psychopath. She can be screaming in his face, and he'll be like, "Go
I
ahead.
don't even notice.
Give me
I don't
more.
even care. This is awesome.
Yeah.
How can we get you louder than this?" And it's just like he eats it up, and he loves it, and he has enjoyment with it. I just kind of die because I'm like, this is a different view.
And your wife's looking at him going,
You never did
Oh,
that? Yeah.
what the fuck changed?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm the same way with my dad.
Yeah.
My dad was, I love my dad to death, but when I was a kid, I thought he was the biggest prick in the world.
Yeah.
And he's not like that at all now. Like, even to me, like I think you just get old and you just get softer and softer and softer and more sentimental. And
I wouldn't
Let me
call
ask
it
you. Let me ask you
soft.
this. I almost think that what happens is you get to a point where they're just like, you know what? You got a grandkid. We're gonna let everything slide.
yeah,
Let's get to the point where like
Yeah.
anything pretty much goes. Whereas like as a kid, you're like, we have all these rules. You gotta do this or that. It's like you have a grandkid. It's like forget about all that.
yeah. Well, it's also when you have a kid, the whole concept of having a kid in a guy's mind. I don't know if women think the same way, but in a guy's
They
mind,
don't. They don't.
all you want is for your kid to have it easier than
When
you
you
had.
had it, yes.
That's the only goal. I think.
That is your main goal as a
Yes,
father,
Yes.
and to be protected, and you don't have to fight as hard as I had to fight when I was a kid.
Yep.
And it just maybe at some point you get to where you're looking at your kid and you're like, I think I actually did what I thought I was going to do, you know?
Yeah.
And then
You get that proud dad moment.
and then you see their kids and you're like, they're already doing better than I did as a father. So why the fuck am I going to give them a hard time? So you just embrace it all, you know? It doesn't matter. So,
Yeah. Honestly, that's what it is. I mean, we just have the one, but like when I growing up, I was the oldest of like 30 cousins. I mean, we had so many cousins, dude. It was wild.
Well, it was a small town. Everybody had to sleep with each other.
That's sisters and brothers.
That's the
Sisters and
wrong
brothers.
state.
Yeah.
Wrong state.
But it is, yeah, I can imagine. It's like, I can imagine as a dad would be super strict with my daughter, but when you kind of see
You
him
will.
getting after it and doing a good job, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, do your
Those
thing.
are the moments you just embrace. You just stand back with a smile.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
You're not, I will say this, is you're like not going to hit 100% as a parent. I'm realizing very quickly at a young age of 32 is like, you think you got to figure it out. You don't.
Oh, no.
No.
You're not going to hit 100%. And you realize quickly
There's a
that
lot of curveballs.
I'm trying to hit a solid 80%.
Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to get a B plus to B minus at this deal, and I'll feel pretty good about it. Because especially if you don't have people to guide you. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to figure out yourself.
Yeah.
You get it figured out for your kids so they're better off than you are. Don't make the mistakes that you did, all that kind of stuff. You're just trying to get them in a spot, in a realm where they're better off than where you were. And if you did that, it's a success. It's almost like a pass-fail situation.
Well, I think the biggest part when you're a young parent like you is not getting wrapped up in the failures, dude.
No.
You're like, oh, well, that was a bad idea.
You're going to
And you
fail on
move
the
on.
daily.
You know?
You fail on the daily.
Yeah. You just
is
have
what
to
it is.
freaking
You just don't
suck it up and
don't
move
look
on.
at it as a failure. Look at it as you're learning. Won't
Yeah.
do that again. You know,
That's all it
we're
is.
going to do it next time. Different next time.
Yeah, it gets worse when your kid gets older. So you got lots to look forward to.
I appreciate that. I feel super motivated
Yeah.
right now. Yeah. No, my biggest thing is like, with real estate, at least, one of my biggest things that I always tell people, because I'm mentoring a couple agents, real estate agents that are coming up, is I always tell them, it's like, hey, this may seem like you just lost everything, like you got smoked, you got defeated, like you didn't do a good job. It's like the best thing you do is learn from this.
Right.
Yeah.
Is like, even if it completely sucked.
So basically,
you
you did a
crushed,
shitty job, but next time do better.
Whatever.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like whatever happens.
Embrace this feeling.
All you can do is like learn that lesson one time.
Yeah.
The worst thing you can do is learn a lesson twice. And that once you learn it twice, it's on you.
Yeah.
Learn it once, you get smoked, whatever it may be. Okay, take that, but like, don't learn it twice.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of goes over to parenthood, where
You
it's
don't
just
ever
like,
want to say, "Oh, I did it again."
yeah, it's like, well, it sucked, but the
Damn it.
positive is I know that like this doesn't work with my kid.
Yeah.
Falling asleep or feed him or whatever it may be. It's like you just try to build and you just kind of keep going.
Well, you see that with people that have more than one kid.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to the second, third, whatever kid,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and every kid is like less and less.
gets a little looser. Gets
Yeah,
a little
everything
looser.
is
It does.
looser and looser.
Yeah,
That's a
it
good.
does.
That's a good way to put it.
Fast and loose, as my buddy said.
Yeah.
We're always going fast and loose. It's kind of like
Yeah.
we're just trying to figure it out. But
It's like the oldest sibling always looks at the youngest sibling and was like, "How the fuck did
You get away with all
that?
that.
I would have got my ass beat."
you could always tell talking to people. It's like you start talking for like 5-10 minutes, and it's like that was the oldest sibling,
Yeah.
or that was the youngest sibling.
You
It's
were
like,
the
yeah,
youngest.
Or
weren't you?
or the most obvious, you were an only child.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that you got away with
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. Yeah.
You were handed everything.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
you can tell it, man. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fun. Whatever.
It is. It is. Like, we're trying to figure out if we want it to or not, One's enough right now, but we'll see what happens.
What, How'd you phrase it?
Yes.
Slam another one in.
Slam another one out.
out.
Slam another one
It's
out.
time to slam another one out.
I cannot confirm or deny that was the exact verbiage you used,
Quick. Yes.
Oh, I love
but
it.
it may have been. But
I could just picture Melissa's face when you say, "I think maybe we should slam another one out right now."
Oh, really?
I'll tell you what, is I'm not trying to come out of diapers and then go back into diapers.
Yeah.
Like, if we're already in there, let's just get it done. You know what I mean? If you're already in
I
the
love
trenches,
it.
let's just
I
stay
love
in
it.
there. You know what I mean? If you're already in the sauce, let's just stay in it. There's no point in
You want
popping
to do
out.
it quick so that you get a few years free.
Little space, little
Because
gap.
right when you think you're done, you get grandkids and friggin' it starts
Yeah.
all over again. And then I've got a feeling that as soon as the grandkids get past it, I'm going to be dealing with like my folks.
Oh, you are. Oh, you are.
Shit. Yeah.
There's going to be like a high five that happens.
I already told my folks though, if I have to deal with you, you're going in a home.
Are they local?
Oh yeah,
Are they?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I already told them. I already set them up. I said I'll get you a good home where they like have bingo on Friday and shit, so you have fun.
I'll
But
get
I'm
you a
not
good
doing
one.
it.
Sold.
I'm busy.
Sold. Well, that's where I was at earlier today before I met up with you. I was at a place where like they had to unfortunately put the mom in a home, you know what I mean, for real estate purposes, and it's a tough spot to be.
Yeah.
Parents get old. You know what's kind of screwed up is that
I won't feel bad. I already warned them.
you talked about it, you guys chatted it out.
Oh yeah, I told them you're going home. I don't care.
The thing that's screwed up is like when you're younger, you don't think about that. Like there's no end to it.
Yeah.
They'll be here forever.
Never crosses
whether it's
your mind.
Grandparents, parents, whatever it is, and then it's like all of a sudden it starts coming really got a plan for that kind of shit.
Honestly, I've never had to deal with it. All I have left is my dad and my stepmom, and my in-laws, I guess. And I never got the chance to deal with any of that because everybody else in my life died pretty suddenly or fast, and or at a young age. So I kind of hope that I do have to deal with it just so that I have the opportunity to spend time with them.
Yep.
It's sad, but I've seen both sides, and I don't want to. I want to have as much time with everybody I love as much as I can.
Of course. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, same. That's how it got to be.
Yeah, Mike complains because he has to deal with his mom all the time, but he wouldn't trade it for the world. I guarantee it.
She had
'cause
to deal with
his
me.
dad
So
went suddenly, and he'd give
did he?
anything to have more
Yeah.
time with his dad.
definitely.
I'd give anything to
100%.
have more time with his dad. It was hilarious.
100%.
It
No.
always changes too. You know what I mean? It's like once it happens, it's like, man, gotta take all that back.
Yeah.
It's like I'd figure out a way to deal with that.
Yeah.
It's rough, but
Getting all this shit. Is that what we're trying to say here?
Yeah.
Talking all this shit.
Well, you're not.
Yeah.
I got grays. Your grays on your beard, master grays on the side of my head right now.
Well, you were born when I was graduating. You were born.
Here we are.
I was already drinking beer before you were even a thought in your dad's mind.
That's probably about right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
91.
Wow.
Yeah.
God, I can't even.
You guys feel old yet or no? Should I just like
Well, I
keep
was born
pouring?
in the
Keep
70s.
I keep pouring it on
You
here a
were
little
born
bit.
in the
Do it.
70s. So,
Yeah. Early 70s.
A lot of crazy shit going on in the 70s.
yeah.
It was free for all back then.
Yeah, there was a lot. It was a lot different, but it's cool though. I'm glad to hear that you're doing good though.
Yeah.
Yeah, same, man. I mean, you and I chat quite a bit about business. What I think is cool is that I think there needs to be more business conversation between local business owners and kids that are going to school. So I went to school for business for 4 years. Got a business management and marketing degree. Graduated in 13 from college. And I think what's happening, we're fucking diving all over the place here down rabbit holes, but having a daughter now is it's cool talking to people who have more experience in the field, which I think is huge. The joke of I think our generation is that you go to apply for a job and it's like you just graduated college and it's like we need 10 years experience with a 8-year degree and we'll start you at $35,000.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And at least when I graduated, the big push for my dad too, who was in the Navy for 4 years, and kind of grew up in that military background,
Drive, yeah.
is you have to go to college. You got to go to college and make it, and you go to college and you didn't. I wouldn't say you made it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like no one taught about the trades. No one taught about
That's true.
linesmen,
That's where
plumbers,
it's
electricians,
at.
all that stuff. And nowadays, conversation I have a lot of people who are in their 40s or 50s is like the trades are where it's at.
well, that's because there's a shortage of every trade now.
There's a
Yes.
huge shortage.
Because there was such
I
push
think
in
it was
college.
because of the push for people. You have to go to a
'Cause
4-year
when we went to
college.
college,
I
when
agree.
we were
Mike.
in school,
I agree.
when we went to school, it was all about go to college, go
Yeah.
to college, go to college. And when you went to college at our age, you went to college and you got a job doing what you went to college for.
Oh yeah.
You don't
Well,
do
then
that
all
now.
of a sudden it became you just had to have a college degree. It didn't matter what it was for. You just to apply for this job, you had to have a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree.
Yeah,
or,
bachelor's, associates, whatever.
yeah,
it may be.
whatever.
the
And you
blanket.
just had to. It didn't
label.
matter what it was in.
Yeah.
You just had to prove that you went to school.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then
Now it's shifting. Now it's shifting.
well, now it's shifting because there's nobody to freaking lay your flooring or
It should.
fix your pipes.
Well, that's the thing
or-
is like, hey, we need some of the 4-year degree. It's like we'll start you off in the 30s. It's like we need an electrician, and he's just out there killing it.
Yeah.
He's out
Starting
there
out with
killing it.
70.
He doesn't have a ton of student debt.
Yeah. Well, and the starting money that you make. I mean, you go to college for 4 years.
Yeah.
You come out of college. Not only do you owe $50,000 in college
Easily.
debt,
Easily.
and
Yeah.
student debt, you get a job starting at $50,000 a year.
If you're lucky.
You go to trade school.
Mm-hmm.
Right off the bat,
You don't owe any money because you had to pay for that,
yeah,
or you worked for it through the trade school.
Yeah.
on the job.
So you don't have any
training.
debt. You come out and you start out making $75,000, $100,000 a year.
Well, here's my thing. Like we were just talking about, I'm going for my GC license. Is that you have a degree, which I have. What are you really drawing from that? You have a fella that gets out and does a trade, whether he's a plumber, bricklayer, electrician, whatever it may be. He's learning a life skill.
Yeah.
But that's something that you will take with you to the grave.
Yeah.
Is that you will be a phenomenal electrician, helping your family out, build your dream house, whatever it may be. That's a defined skill. When you graduate with the degree, it's like you have the concepts,
Yeah,
but you don't really know
have
like
the
the
hands-on
defined,
experience.
like a very hands-on.
Yeah.
Exactly, Mike. And so it's like those trades to me are extremely valid because you can use that anywhere.
Yeah.
That's a very black and white thing. You understand the skill. You've been trained. You're good at it.
Sure.
And by, I don't know, 21, 22, you can implement that and just go to town.
Yeah.
You know? Whereas a degree, you really can't.
No.
A degree gets you to the starting line.
Yeah. And then it's like you're starting all over again.
Yeah, you are. You are. And you're fighting against everyone else who has a 4 or 6 or 8 year degree.
And I'm not saying that's the wrong way to go.
Oh, no.
I'm just saying you really need to look at it. And there's some people that they're not made for that. There's some people that
Agreed.
There are definitely a lot of people
Which doesn't fit
that should be a tradesman. They should not be
Yes.
trying to go to college, dude.
Yeah.
No,
Well, they know.
but then there are certain fields that you definitely want them to go get the schooling, like a doctor or,
Yes.
Yeah.
a lawyer,
Yep. Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just, like you said, it's not for everybody.
I went the other route.
Yeah.
I didn't do either.
You just hired the people.
I didn't do either, dude.
It was like option C.
I was
It's
like, I think I will just sell some drugs and drink a lot and party and try and rip people off, and I'll be a piece of shit. And maybe I'll go to prison for a little bit. And, that was my plan for life.
Yeah.
And luckily,
You party enough,
I
you
met
never
good
even think
people,
about
and
it.
I had some opportunities come about. And the biggest thing was, though, I had a kid. And
That changes
turns
everything.
it around, dude.
when I had a kid, I started looking at my own life, and I was like, I don't want my kid to be like me.
Right.
So I started changing, and that changed what I did. And
Here you are.
I don't know that I'm successful, but I'm not a total loser. So
I'd say you are. I mean, it's here's the thing is that after working 8+ years for a W-2 job is like, it takes a lot to do that, qualifications, but it takes a certain person to be able, like, I'm going to step away. I'm going to open my own business. I'm going to try to understand all the aspects.
yeah,
Not just getting a paycheck. Like, I'm talking marketing, accounting, everything. And a lot of people don't want to take the leap of faith. Like, majority, I would say.
well,
Don't want to do that. 'Cause it's
I
a
will
huge
tell
risk.
people. I will tell for sure, it is way more work than just
You
going
think
to work.
than anybody thinks about
Yeah.
it.
There is I wish I had it with me. I was to share this quote with you from Dana White. Dana White did this short little blurb where he basically said, like, in the early days of creating your own business, it's like so many people come to Dana and say, hey, I would love to open my own business. I'm sick of working these hours. I don't work for my boss anymore. I'm going to open my own business, do my own thing. And he's like, that's a joke.
Yeah,
You
Mhm.
basically don't understand what it takes to create your own business successful.
yeah,
It's like it takes a lot of commitment. He's like, you're working all the time. Everyone's trying to steal what you have.
you work way harder than you ever
Way harder. It's like, oh, I wish I had my own
worked.
hours.
You don't have
It's-
hours. Fuck
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know, it's exactly what his quote was.
Yeah.
Is like everything you think it might be, it's not that easy.
No, our buddy Lenny.
Yeah.
He freaking told me a long time ago. He goes, people always freaking ask me, how freaking overnight you became a success.
Overnight.
He's like, it's
Yeah.
awesome how you overnight became a success.
Yeah.
Fucking overnight was years of freaking 14, 15,
Where's-
16-hour days.
He
Where's
started
that
flashing
switch?
back and
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, overnight. Yeah, I remember all those
Yeah,
Overnight.
overnight
Yes.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Dude, it is. It is.
Yeah, and people from the outside look in, and they always think you're way more successful than you are, because to be successful, you gotta kind of not let everybody know about everything that's going on.
You can't.
You gotta portray that you're doing good,
Yeah.
or people don't trust that you're doing good, and you gotta bust your ass. It's a lot of work.
Juggling game. Huge.
Yeah.
Balancing act, however you want to term it. And
I think the reality is like it takes a lot of work to open a business. And it's just kind of like you got to protect that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We want to put it all out there. But I always love when someone says, I want to start a business. It's like, get after it.
yeah,
It's going to be rough.
for sure. Yeah, but I wouldn't change a thing.
No.
Luckily, I didn't start a business. I just took over a business that was already halfway doing
Which is a
good.
good spot to be in.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a good reputation and everything.
But
Yeah.
honestly, the funny part was I didn't realize how much of it that I didn't have anything to do with it. That,
You start
once I took
figuring
it
out
over,
real
then all
quick.
of a sudden I'm like, fuck, wait, I
Holy
never knew
shit.
about this. I never had to do this.
What the?
Every 2 seconds, I'm learning something else that I never knew.
Oh yeah.
And then I don't like having any spare time, so I start all this other shit like learning how to do a podcast and edit a podcast and that stuff. And
Keeps you busy.
yeah. And the funny thing is I don't like to be busy. I like to sit on my porch and smoke a cigar and drink whiskey
I was going to ask you if you're still doing that. That's still a thing.
when I get a chance.
When it's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. When nobody's around.
What time you get up in the morning?
About 5:30.
I think it's the best, honestly. If I was to say like a cheat code for people, it's like get up and you watch the sun come up with a cup of coffee.
Oh, I don't do that.
Really?
No, I just get up and get in the shower and come to work. I don't have time to watch the sun
Come
come
on,
up.
man.
It's like it's 30,
I see the sun come up through my
30
window.
seconds.
This window right here is where I see the sun come up
Yep.
Oh, it's awesome.
as I'm on my computer getting work shit done. I write in my journal for about half an hour, 45 minutes every morning, which is where I put all my negative shit.
Buried in there.
I bury it all in there.
You're telling your secrets now.
Yeah.
That's
Ah.
the best thing I ever started doing.
Journaling.
Well, yeah.
Because
and
when you got to start writing it out, it's different.
it puts all my, like I said, I put all my negative shit in there.
Mhm.
And then the
Leave it
rest of the day, I don't have it in my head.
Just kind of park it there.
Yeah, I dump it all there. It's like venting to somebody,
It's a good
but
idea.
I'm just venting to myself.
Mm-hmm.
My freaking kids, someday they're going to read all these old journals and they're going to be like, "Your dad was a psycho."
Did you ever read back through it afterwards?
And once in a while.
Yeah.
I put stuff in there, and once in a while I have to go back because I'll forget what I was. Because I put everything in there. I dump everything. I dump ideas that I have and marketing ideas, future ideas for shirt ideas and
Yeah.
logos and all sorts of random
Just
shit.
unload it.
And then once in a while I'll put, I also listen to lots of motivational shit, so I will, if something really hits me, I'll write that in there so I don't forget it.
Yeah.
So once in a while I'll go back and I'll look at that stuff. But I've never like gone back and reread everything.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a few times that I've had my journal at home and I'll freaking write when I'm drunk. I've
Those
got
are
a
always
couple of
probably
drunken
interesting.
recipes and
Yeah.
shit in there, and so I try and find that stuff once in a while. But yeah, it'll be entertaining for somebody to read someday.
So it's the kids. They'll read that.
Grandkids, yes.
They'll be like, "Oh,
Grandpa
yeah,
was a
Grandpa was
badass.
nuts."
Yeah.
He should have been in the hospital.
He should have been on some
Is
medication.
he okay, or you check in on him?
It's no wonder he died of a heart attack.
Shit.
Right on. What you said that you've actually got to cut this short because you got stuff to do, huh?
I do. So yeah, part of that entry to general contracting, I got some roofing job I got to do at my house with the barn. So I got to.
Nobody's paying you for that, so you're.
No, I'm on my wife's clock, so she's the foreman
The
running this
wife.
job.
Yes.
So I got to go.
Oh, you need to teach her the lesson of
Whoa.
things don't happen when you're
So
planning.
here's what we're gonna do: is I'm gonna take my little daughter up in the 45-foot man boom to get up on the roof and see if my
You
wife
strap her,
tolerates that.
strap her
Yeah.
to the lamp.
I'm just gonna hold her right, man. Yeah, worth the joysticks. Yeah, that's the
You
plan.
got the little kitty
Well, harness,
backpack.
man. I
with
do.
that-
I do in my truck. Yeah, I
There
no
you
You
shame
be
in that,
roofing
man.
with your daughter in a harness.
Yeah.
I no problem. Nail gun. I got a little pink earmuffs for her.
Hell yeah.
I'll saddle her up, man. I don't want her
Oh.
getting soft, man. I want her to just figure it out as we go.
Are
know?
you still doing the drone stuff?
Oh yeah. I got drone stuff.
I should. Next
Licensed drone.
time we do a shooting day, we'll invite you out,
Let me know.
and you'll have to bring your drone so we can get some cool
Overhead
drone
pictures,
footage.
yeah.
That drone is dialed in, dude. It shoots some really good footage. So if you guys have something you want to shoot, let's do it.
That would be cool as hell.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Be
I
awesome.
hate to cut this short, but
All right.
Yeah. Well, I don't want you to get charged extra for renting equipment. So thank you for being on the show, man. I only
thanks for
got to
having
like
me,
half of
man.
the stuff that I wrote down. So
oh really?
maybe I'll have to get you on again, and
We'll do a part two. We'll do a part two with
yeah.
Mike and
Hell yeah.
do it all.
We can tell some more stories about hunting 8 points and
I know. I was like, I feel bad at 8 points as a 4x4. You know, we'll figure that out. But
So it's all right. You guys want to make things seem bigger than they are.
that's how it is out East Coast, man. We
East
do what we
Coast.
can out there. It's a different ball game, but we gotta dig some more stories out of you. But yeah, I'm glad you're having me on, man. I appreciate that.
Right on. Well, it's good having you, Mike. As always,
Yes.
it's good seeing you, buddy. And everyone else, until next time, you guys have a good one.
Take it easy.